Hey everyone, how are you? Ashley Amudzai here, the Psychic Life Coach. I am here with another Thought Leader Thursday, and I am so excited to share with you my very, very dear friend and my personal psychic coach, Shauna Grace. She's going to be popping on here any minute now, so we're just going to give her some time for that. But in the meantime, there we go, bring him on camera. And in the meantime, feel free to ask any questions. Oh, we did it!
Oh my goodness! Hello! Oh my goodness, that was fun.
Yeah, so thank you everyone who is hopping on. Oh, you know what? Do you have headset or headphones?
I do. I have my battery plugged in, but I have. You know what? I totally do. We're just gonna stay right here, you guys. Hey guys, welcome. I think my Bluetooth headset's charged, so it's gonna be super sexy. But I'm just gonna.
It'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear feedback? If you guys are listening, can you hear feedback? I can hear it in my headset, but it's hit or miss with Facebook Live.
Okay, here we go.
Alicia, Christina. Can you guys hear anything? Oh, those are gonna be real awesome. You're like a rapper.
Oh yes. Gonna make sure they connect. I think they connect.
Oh, there we go. Now I can hear.
Oh my goodness, it did it. Oh, look at that.
Cool.
My hair's all crooked, but it's cool. Wah, wah. It's
I love
live
it.
video.
Yep. It is. I love it. Perfect. Okay, yeah. It makes hey beautiful. You can hear it's muffled, major feedback. The sound is wacky. So now it should be better. Can you guys hear it now since she put her headset in? I like it. I like that you have the headset. Is it better? Let us know. There's a Yay. Okay. Is it good? Christina, counting on you. She's so good. The other day she's like, Ashley, you totally spelled this word wrong. And I was like, thank you for telling me. Amen. Because I was spelling this word wrong my whole life and I didn't even realize it. So, okay.
It's okay. We all have those moments.
Yeah, so now we are all set to go, and I'm going to start this video over again because we are going to edit it, and this video goes on YouTube, on social media, on all of the platforms. So thank you guys for being here. So welcome. I am so excited. Ashley Amudzai here, the Psychic Life Coach, for another Thought Leader Thursday, and I am so excited to have our amazing, beautiful, fantastic guest, the Shauna Grace. She is my personal coach, and I'm just so honored to have you featured today. Thank you, Shauna.
Oh, thank you, Ashley. I just absolutely love and adore you, as you know, and I am so honored and blessed that you have actually taken the time. I'm here with you guys on this show. It's great. Like I could go on and on about all the magic, but I know we due to the technical issues, we're wanting to jump right in. So I guess we should just do that, huh?
Yes. Yeah, let's do it. So I'll share it. So Shauna is a medical intuitive. She's a first of all, she's a celebrity psychic. She lives in LA. And so, yeah, a psychic medium, a medical intuitive, and an empath expert. And I met her at a conference. And I knew she was a guest speaker at this conference. And as she was speaking, my heart was just like jumping out. You need to talk to her. There's something extra special about this person. And being a psychic and being an intuitive, I know that I need to follow that pull. I need to follow my heart in that direction. And so when she was walking around the room, I was like, hey.
Hey, friend.
And, yeah, exactly. And that's how, soul sister. And that's how we connected. And I actually did a one-on-one coaching program, 3 months with Shauna. It completely changed my life. Completely. I'm so grateful. I'm almost like speechless when I talk about it, because from that coaching program, I opened up my psychic abilities, gave me permission to step into my power as an intuitive, as an empath, as a healer, and do it with integrity and authenticity, as opposed to, well, I don't really know. Like, what if people judge me? She was like, fuck all of that. You have a gift and you are a trailblazer. Step into that power. And everything changed for me. And I just, thank you so much, Shauna, for not only my life, my family's lives, and the clients that I am like working with every single day. You were that one rock that went into my pool, and now all of these ripples are going out into the world.
Thank
from
you
that
so
one
much.
conference.
From that one conference. And you know, I think I'm so grateful that you're bringing up this point. And first off, my heart is just so touched by your words. And, I know it's not just me, but so many who choose to do this work and choose to be of service, like experiencing and hearing that feedback, like that's why we do what we do. You know what I mean? And so for that, I'm truly grateful, because that's a sign that, yes, I am on the right path and I am doing what I'm here to do. And it's so beautiful to see your success and everything that you're growing, because that's what you've been working for. And it's so true, you guys. It works if you work it. You just have to be willing to really step up and trust yourself enough, as well as, whatever higher power, cosmology that resonates with you. If you can find that reason and your why to just go for what it is that you want, and you trust in that process, your life can truly be transformed. It's not just certain people. Everybody has this ability, truly. And so thank you. But what I was going to say before I go on to a whole other sideline there is,
Dimension.
right, 100%. I'm like, woo, especially with these headphones. It's kind of an interesting experience. um, but in regards to how we met, sometimes people come into your life when you least expect it, in ways that you don't expect. There's not necessarily, an intention behind, going to a conference. You're going for one thing and you end up being connected to something else, and being willing to trust that, and trust in your own intuition. It's like, it makes you, I sometimes wonder in those moments where I think a lot of us have had those inklings. And what would have happened if we never spoke, or we didn't speak up, or we didn't follow that pull, that little nudge, however it comes up for you. Things can be totally different, but those nudges show up for a reason. And so now is the time. It's been the time, but even more so now, it seems like, as this awakening continues to evolve, and so many people are now recognizing their internal nudges, right? Now's the time to listen. It's like, it's past time. Like, this is the year. It works if you work it. It's a 3. I mean, I could go on and on, but I love Matt
It's
Kahn.
so inspiring.
It is. And I love Matt Kahn, who is a wonderful author. And I was familiar with his work when I still lived in Seattle, when he was just, had a small little, they weren't too small, but, small little, spiritual conferences that he would do up there. He coined this year the year of the thriving light worker, and I totally agree with it. We are no longer the trash picker-uppers, if you will, of other people's heaviness, of other people's pain. What if we could actually help people heal their own pain and process that and release that, instead of us feeling like, oh, it's my responsibility to take on everyone else's stuff. That's not it's not our job anymore, right? Instead of being like, oh, here, let me carry this burden. What if you give someone the tools and help them recognize that they can let it go, that they can transform, And I think this is something that's really important to me. So I had to get that out.
It is. And that's why, again, when I saw you speaking on stage, when I see you on social media, when I just see you in person, everything about you exudes that. And this is the time of the light worker. And it's the time for us to honor our powers, honor our gifts, and use it for good. And one of the things that I was really nervous to, long ago, I was so nervous to even work with a psychic, because I was concerned of, what if they don't have good intentions? What if they're manipulative? XYZ, whatever it was. And of course, working with you completely turned that around. And I was very impressed with the accuracy of your skills, and how just like the loving place that it comes from, and even your delivery of that. So let's dive into, how did you discover your skills and realize that, wow, this is truly a gift?
Oh, great question. To sum up, ever since I was a little girl, I was an extreme empath, and more specifically, I would also see energy, feel, not only feel pain of the people and or adults around me, but also I internalized a lot of it, because you can imagine being a 5-year-old seeing, spirits, can be really overwhelming, especially when you're not like, when you're cognitive, when your brain's not even fully developed to really comprehend fully what's happening. And so for me, I just thought there was something severely wrong with me. I always knew I had a purpose. I always knew what I wanted to do, in the sense, as an artist, and being an actor, in order to create change. I knew I was going to live in LA one day, and I knew all that, but at the same time I had this very strange relationship with myself where I was very self-deprecating. That was my way of coping, self-sabotaging, which is very common for a lot of natural empaths. And that's kind of where I stayed, quite honestly, until my father, who I was very close with, passed on when I was 19. And at that point, I felt very alone, as you can imagine, losing, a father that who and I truly believe is one of my soulmates. We have more than one soulmate, guys, by the way, but we had a very very strong relationship. And in college, I went through some pretty traumatic experiences where that I would say gave me a near-death experience, to be perfectly frank. And that's when I realized, wow, this really isn't working anymore. This whole process of being, assuming everyone else's beliefs and or opinions obviously must be more right than mine, and not listening to my gut, like that was not working. And so finally, that was my bottom, really. And at that point, the universe really started showing up and allowing these beautiful spiritual mentors just to show up in my life, and help me realize what I was feeling, what I was experiencing more clearly. And one day I finally decided to come out of the spiritual closet. And I remember sitting at a college party and looked at one of my friends and said, "Hey, I read palms. Do you want a palm reading?" Because I ironically learned how to read palms when I was 8 from a daycare provider named Jeannie, which I think is funny. And and she said, "Sure," but then there was so much more than just a palm reading. And one thing led to another, and the next thing I knew, I was doing readings for faculty and college professors, which led to girls' nights and events. And eventually, I got asked to teach workshops at Microsoft on the topic of intuition in business. So it's like the more I allowed myself to trust and heal myself, as well as share and be of service, the more things lined up. And that's finally what allowed me to not only as an artist, but also especially with this work, which is my main work, bringing that down to Los Angeles. And I've been very blessed with not having to as often, a lot of times when you first move to LA, people think about, oh, you have to get a serving job, or you have to drive for Uber. Yes, you could totally do those things, but I've been very blessed that I haven't had to. I've been able to just do my work, expand my business, be an author. I was very blessed to be voted by Times Square Press one of the top 4 best angel communicators in the world out of 17,000 nominations, and one of the top 15 best psychic mediums within that same year, which is pretty cool. And I speak with them every year at the Embrace Your Spirit conference in Texas. Oh, it's a great conference. If you guys are in the Texas area, we'll be there around Halloween. So if you're interested, check it out. And yeah, it's been a ride, you guys. And the medical intuitive work too, which is something that's not as common. And what I love is, like, because you also have, I think, and you have this gift, and that's kind of how we first connected. And being able to really bring healing on a physical level, in addition to the emotional, mental, and spiritual, I think is so important. And being able to stand in that, so every year there's just new opportunities and ways in which I have to evolve myself in order to continue to be of higher service to those I choose to be of service to, which is, my fellow empaths.
What you do.
Yeah, it's what I do.
Yeah. Okay. So I love that so much. Number one, so I am a psychic medium. I do focus more so, for me personally in my practice, if anyone is curious, I do focus primarily on the energy body. If somebody wants, and I do past life regressions, but I don't do a lot of like the fortune telling. I don't do a lot of talking to past spirits. But if anyone asks, they're like, I want a psychic medium, Shauna is the person I refer to. So if you guys are curious about that, or 100%, because I know what it takes in my practice to maintain and clear my channel so I can be of the purest and highest vessel for divine flow for my client. I know what that takes. And I think there are a lot of other psychics out there who, not to have a generalized statement, but they don't take it as seriously. They just do it. They're not using their protection tools. They're not cleansing, things like that. Shauna does those things. And so that's why you are my like one and only really referral. If you guys are looking for that, like definitely connect with her, and we're going to post all of her information above and below this video.
Oh, you're so
So
sweet.
let's talk a little bit more about the medical intuition, because I was very, very curious about this in the beginning, and that's what you were speaking about on stage. And I'd love for you to go into that a little bit more. The difference between a psychic medium versus someone, well, and someone who is a medical intuitive.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, a couple things. So, psychic medium. One thing I will say: all mediums are psychic. Not all psychics are mediums. That's one distinction that I think is really important. Being a psychic medium, to sum up, you guys, and I think a lot of you already know this, is someone who has the ability to connect with the spirits and or souls that have crossed over to the other side, as well as earthbounds. People have different specialties. Some work in both fields. Some work only focus on, say, loved ones. Every medium is different, and in regards to their process. Also, a medium someone can also be considered a medium if they commune and communicate with angels, people's personal guides, etc., etc. But there's many different cosmologies that connect to that as well. A medical intuitive is someone who has the ability to sense or physically see any imbalances within the actual physical form. Each medical intuitive even picks up a little differently too. The way I pick up as a medical intuitive is I actually feel, I'm guided by, first off, by feeling where the area or the core root of an issue is sitting. Now, of course, for legality reasons, and it's true, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a medical professional. So that's not my job to diagnose. My goal is to help identify perhaps what is the core root. So I get a lot of clients who have gone through the gamut of trying to get testing and trying to get things figured out, and they can't seem to get the answers, right? So often they'll come to me, and by being able to identify what the core root is, they can then go to the appropriate medical practitioner or professional, be it holistic or otherwise, or Western, right, to then find the healing and the solution that they need. And it's truly saved lives. And it's very vulnerable. You can imagine, it's very vulnerable in today's society to be a medical intuitive. But by seeing what a difference it can make for people, that's why I'm willing to really be out there, because when you have the gift, it's there for a reason. It's not just for funsies.
Yeah, and it's really amazing. And that's kind of what we first started working on, was the medical intuition for me personally. And I realized as I was doing Reiki on clients that I was picking up, it seemed to me like densities. And I was like, Shauna, what is this? She's like, you're doing medical intuitive work. And I was able to pick up on tumors, on remember there was one girl, and I was like, I didn't know exactly what it was because I wasn't certain, like really trained in this. And I would like go and practice, and I'd go to have session with Shauna, and she'd help me explain what that was. But I remember I was like really doing some deep energy work in her reproductive area, and I couldn't figure out what it was, but called in the angels to help clear up that space. And I had told her about it afterwards, and she's like, yeah, actually I have my gyno appointment right after this for that. And I was like, wow, how amazing is it when we give ourselves permission to tune into those subtle frequencies, the subtle energy medicine. And Shauna, this is like two stories tied in one, but I know with certain people, if they're heavy metals, then you'll taste metal, or you'll smell certain things.
You were feeling my vibe, girl. I was wondering if we were going to talk about the tasting.
Which is so cool. And I'll tie that, because that's one of the gateways. I'm definitely going to be doing a class on all of the clairs and what that means. But one of them that we both have is the clairolfaction, and the ability to smell things. And that could be really cool and interesting. It's also different if you're smelling poop and you're like,
oh, girl, this is where, and again, and it's funny. We have to have the joy and the humor around all this.
Yeah. Oh, you're a little bit frozen. There you are. Yeah. You're here. Yeah. Oh, I can't hear you anymore. Bummer. Freeze frame. I can't hear you. Oh no, I can see your beautiful mouth moving though. Nope. Did they just die? Well, as we're figuring this out, maybe if you take it out again. I can see you talking, but I can't hear you. Bummer. But maybe if we switch it, I know I found out that with Facebook Lives, it'll give you feedback if you don't have a headset. So one of the, oh no, it's kind of like miming. You can comment though. But what I will say too, like while we're figuring this out, is Shauna does paranormal activity stuff as well, where she has, I think you've done it for a show before. Oh no, they can't hear me. Oh, I can't hear you. No, this is the beautiful, this is the, I wish I could type, I could type that you, we can't hear you. But this is the beauty of social media, right? I I can't hear you. No. I know, Tamara, I know. Thank you for saying that. I know you can hear me. I don't think that the headsets are working. I wish I could type to you. Okay, thank you guys for hanging in here. Oh, I can't hear you. Maybe someone else can type it. I wish I could. But I was saying that Sean does paranormal activity things, and she's walked in and she would feel like a choking around her neck, and somebody had been hung like in the doorway. Or she would, thanks, Christina. Making it really clear and concise. Or how she's walked also into a building or a place and she'll taste heavy metals because somebody was shot. And it's so interesting as a medical intuitive that you're able to tune in again to those frequencies and be able to pick up on those things. And so I'm curious now, like you may have that ability of taste, smell, hearing, divine knowing, clairsentience in the feeling, or even clairvoyance, whatever those clairs are for you. And you may be, they may be open, you just don't realize it. And you're like, why do I taste this heavy metal in my mouth, you know? So I'm really curious.
See, now so I'm really curious. Bluetooth, so now it works, but now it's going to have feedback, so let me turn it back on. Maybe
yeah, bummer. But we can hear you now.
In this one, I can hear you. Let's see if it'll change with the Bluetooth.
Oh.
Check 1, 2.
No, there's still feedback.
I'm sorry.
But we know we can do. That is A-okay. It was so crazy.
No, I'm so sorry. It's trying to. Can you connect, please, Mr. Bluetooth? Hang on. Just stay here. We're going to figure it out.
And we can redo this video too another time if that works also. I know it's such a stinker. Oh, hey everyone, giving us love and staying with us through. So I'll keep talking too, because I not only did my first 3-month coaching program, my first coaching program, that was like my first big investment last year at the beginning of the year, and now I'm in Shauna's year-long coaching program. Oh, are you there? Oh, I can see your voice. I mean, your mouth. So I'm in her year-long coaching program now, and I am so grateful because we meet every week and we have our one-on-ones bi-weekly, and I'm really able to develop my skills, my intuitive gifts, and also I'm learning each week. And so if you guys are curious in coaching, whether that is developing your intuitive abilities or gifts, understanding what it means to be a psychic, and or you are interested in business mastery, I highly, highly recommend that you connect with Shauna, because she really is a genius. And honestly, everything that comes out of her mouth, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gold. And my notebook is filled with Shauna notes because she just has such a well-rounded knowledge and all of the things. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them below. There we go.
Is this good?
Yep.
Okay, I just unplugged the battery pack, so it'll be fine. Sorry, guys. I know some people were like, I'm over it. Can't deal with this game. So they'll have to catch the rest of it after it's edited.
Yeah. No worries. Well, I was just talking about, I said our 3-month coaching program and then our year-long coaching program. So let's talk about sessions. What does it look like to work with you, Shauna? Because you have so many like irons in the fire in your business, and you're just like, you can do anything, really. Oh. What does it look like to work with you?
Thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah, let's go into it. So for me, I like to provide my clients with a couple just options. Obviously, people can book one-on-one sessions with me. That's something I do still have available. Some people like to only focus on programs, which is great. I mean, there's just different ways on how you want to approach. Because I do have quite a few high-end clients, or rather, I would say high-end more in the sense of like in the entertainment industry who just want to be able to have those check-ins. That's why I still allow and do offer one-on-ones, as well as just people who, are not necessarily looking to do, intuition development or business development or just personal development. They just want to have a one-on-one session. So I still offer that. One of the other options, obviously, I do have are programs and workshops. So right now I have, as you know, Ashley, my Awakened Empath Business Mastery program that's running. It's my year-long program, which has been so extraordinary, and I love each and every amazing practitioner in that group. Truly honored. I also am currently working on another 3-month group program that you guys will be hearing about very soon. That's going to be more module based, more online, so it's going to be really accessible. You can go at your own pace, as well as getting access to monthly Q&As. So you're going to be hearing a lot more about that very, very soon. I'm in the final processes of just kind of aligning the technology with the offer. Womp womp. So that's going to be exciting. You gotta have fun with it, right? And then let's see here. I am traveling. I'll be speaking in Texas, as you know, in October. And my goal, I guess, with working with me, what you're gonna get is, number one, I always approach every client session as whatever's in service of the highest good for that individual. May that be what comes through today. I'm a firm believer that it's not just about special people who have psychic abilities and intuition. Every single person has it. And personally, I think this is part of the Homo sapien evolution. This having empathic abilities, having that ability to tune into the more subtle frequencies that often people don't even, for a long time, haven't even recognized, right? Having a heightened sense of awareness or extrasensory perception, that's literally what it means. You pick up on energy, emotions, which you can break down to vibrations and frequencies on a heightened level that most people, or a lot of people, don't even recognize, right? That's right now it's called extrasensory. But my point is, I would bet money that in the next 100, 150 years, we're going to have a very different relationship to that idea of extrasensory perception. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. And that's something that I definitely talk about as an expert on various television programs, some of which I can't say which ones right now because they're about to be released, but I'm sure you'll be seeing postings if you want to catch some of those appearances I've done.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, it's super fun.
And I get lost in everything that you say, because I'm like, oh, it's so good. When you're talking about like the next 100 years and what that's going to look like, think about iPhones. I remember when I had like the flip razor phone and I was so cool. That was just a few years ago, like 7 years ago, less than a decade ago. How long ago was that? And now we have all of the access that the world has to offer on our wrist, like on an Apple Watch. Like just in 1 decade, things have like just evolved so quickly. And I feel that something is cracked wide open, the collective consciousness. And I describe it as like a barbecue, right? If someone's cooking a barbecue, Sean and I are cooking a barbecue over here of like empath and intuitive and psychic stuff. All of a sudden people are like, what's that smell? It smells good. And they're starting to gravitate towards it. Like people are becoming the vibration of that. And it's becoming more and more normalized, and people are curious. People are asking questions, and people are developing their abilities very, very quickly. I think the challenge is finding a safe place to do it, where you will be held and loved, and it's some place where you can trust your growth and your abilities. And I'll be honest, I guess I could call it like a psychic awakening, but when I had, oh my gosh, it was after the event that I met Shauna at, and I made the commitment that I was going to do the 3-month coaching program with you to develop my intuitive abilities, especially in medical intuition, where that night when I went home, I was shaking. My physical body was shaking. All of my gateways opened at once. I'm almost like nervous to describe it in public because it was so profound. And I was like, I'm not crazy, but I'm hearing angel voices telling me this is what I'm supposed to do. And I wasn't scared because I felt safe, But what it is, you have your spirit body and then you have your physical body. And my spirit body was like, let's do this. My physical body was like stuck in this dimension and trying to figure it out. I didn't know who to turn to or what that looked like or anything. And thank the good Lord that Shauna was in my space, because I could call her, and I had a few other people that I met at that event, and they're like, oh yeah, that's totally normal. And I was able to blossom instead of like just like wringing the neck. I have a vision of like this rose, right? And I'm like wringing the neck of the rose and the petals are falling all over the place, right? I'm like, I'm crazy. Maybe I need to get on medication, blah, blah, blah. Like instead, the people that I was able to surround myself with, including you, Shauna, and all of our sessions, it allowed me to blossom into this safe space of like love and light. And this is more of what the world needs. So
absolutely. And Grace, she just commented, yes. And I'm yes, you get it, girl. And yeah, you well said, Ashley, because that is so often how so many of us feel right before a significant choice that can completely transform our lives. One thing I'm going to be actually bringing to my class for the Awakened Empath Mastery Program on Sunday, and I'm going to just touch on this subject briefly for you guys, if that's okay with you, is how do I say, I'm just going to try to say this as best I can. We experience the most resistance to a said choice or action that will bring forth the most profound soul evolution for you. Another way of say it again, when you're about to make a giant choice or take an action, and it literally, because and I'm just going to say that I'm being casual as I talk about this. Some things it's so easy to make a decision about, right? You can just go. You're like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do that, right? I'm going to go to college or not, whatever it is for you. But it's those certain ones, and you know which one, and it's different. Each person has their own individual relationship to this, right? But those certain choices, and it's like, I know this is going to be really good for me. I know this is something I know I need, but it's like, I'll do it tomorrow, right? Or I'm going to think about it later. It's because you're feeling that, because there's a level of importance on a soul level that you feel. And so if you're in a place right now where you're being called to do something, or you're called to take an action, whether it's getting coaching with Ashley or being in a program or whatever it is, or taking on fill in the blank, and it's going to be extremely supportive for you as you're moving forward, there's something, you can feel that resonance, but you're legit avoiding or procrastinating or whatever it is. The question becomes, how can I take off that avoidance? How can I take away that resistance that can be so overwhelming? Take away the level of importance. Now, I'm not talking about importance in the sense of, oh, it's important that I pay my taxes, so I better do it, although a lot of us procrastinate on that. Or importance of, buying food so I can feed my kids. We're not talking about those categories, but it's the ones where you're feeling that resistance that it's good for you. Why you feel it is because there's a placement of high pressure, I don't want to mess up, fear of failure. So if you can find a way to start to take off that perception, there is now a sense of grace that you can then give yourself into the situation where you can move forward, right? And then you can apply this in any area of your life, but just starting to play with that idea, right? Because it's not just about, oh, let me see where my resistance is, although it's so key to identify our core roots, which that's a huge part of what I teach and creating access points for people to do so. But it's what's next, what then, right? And it's really about moving through it. How can I not only recognize, but then shift, heal, right? Take that step. And the last thing I'll say is, when you have that resistance, which I think is so fascinating, maybe what if instead of us going into freak out, right, or having those moments, because we're human, right? Oprah still has her moments. Seriously, I'm sure Mother Teresa did too, right? We all have it. But then the question becomes, what are we going to do about it, right? Are we going to allow that to stop us or not? And so if you can find your way to shift through it, which will probably be different from other people. Why? Because we're all individuals, right? That's your in. That's how you do it. That's how you can get through it.
I love it. And I realized whenever I had actually one of these experiences this past weekend where I was so blocked and I was like trying to create, I was trying to do my things and nothing was coming out. And I was in that resistance, right? So two things. it's just perspective shift, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perspective shift number one is like, okay, if nothing's going in and nothing's going out, then I'm just going to do what I want to do and take that breath so I can hit that restart button, right? So that's like one option. The other one is like, so that way I'm like, okay, if there's resistance here, I'm going to work and release that. So that way I have like the energy to be able to plow through whatever that ceiling is. Yes. The other one that I realized in that moment too, to your point, was I'm feeling so stuck. I'm already in the hard part. That means the rest must just be tissue paper. Right?
Yeah.
Like I already threw the hard part. Like everything else that's in front of me, it's just tissue paper. And I'll tell myself that, because what you believe about your reality is ultimately true. It's just tissue paper. And I'm about to make a huge breakthrough. That's what that means, right?
Yes. And it's exciting. What if, it's like in that moment being like, ooh, ow, look at this resistance. Ooh, this is going to be really good, right? Or like just letting yourself find those access points. And yet, tomorrow, I'm so glad that does make sense. And, you have that calling, and you are not stuck. You can find a way to move beyond, and obviously you're in the right place in this group with Ashley, and being here, like everyone watching now, it's for a reason, right? You're here. And if this is resonating with you, beautiful, and of course, you know where to find me. You certainly know where to find Ashley. She is extraordinary. I can't say anything more than all good things, which probably can become slightly repetitive, but I hope you don't mind, because I genuinely feel that. But anyway, I digress. I'm getting distracted. I'm going down another. It's like, woo! The other thing I wanted to say too is, and I'm so glad you brought that up with those moments of finding your in, because you are amazing at visuals. That's one thing I think I'm so grateful that you bring this to your work and you share that side of you. Everyone has a gift, and we all have, honestly, many gifts. And I know that's certainly one of yours. So I just want to acknowledge that. So
thank you. And as you were talking about visuals too, it made me giggle, because I know you have the same thing. When somebody describes something very visually, because we are very clairvoyant, I can't help but see it in an instant. Yeah. Like I've trained that muscle, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes. Fun fact, sometimes when you have that, that's where I've had those experiences in public where all of a sudden, if it's something unpleasant, and if it's a certain topic or a certain way, all of a sudden I'll do this like gag out of nowhere situation, and people will be like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I'm sorry. It just, I thought about it. It's very powerful.
Yeah. And that's okay. So let's talk about that too, is because you had told me, and I laughed so hard when you said you were at a conference, and because you're extrasensory, right, like your clairolfaction, you can smell.
Oh girl, yes.
You can smell more. And I'll do the same thing. Like it's like we can see things, feel things before other people can. It's like being a dog, right?
Yes. And I'll be like, do you smell that? Like I used to ask, like, do you guys smell that? Because I want to find, because sometimes if it's a certain, especially if it's unpleasant or someone's releasing, and for any of you guys out there, this just, if you perhaps you have experienced this and maybe you haven't realized it, if you're someone who like smells things randomly, it's not necessarily you just have a heightened sense of smell, right? Because there is sensitive smell, yes, and but if you've been like me, I'm like, do you smell that? Do you smell that? And people are like, no, what's wrong with you? You may have had those experiences, but you tend to have that psychic smell, especially in group settings, where people are releasing. So there's for example, I don't know if you've ever gotten Reiki from a practitioner, but sometimes you can even smell your own release. Or if you're doing energy work on someone else, you can smell it, and it's temporary. Like I find if I just acknowledge it and let it go, easy enough. But man, I know there's the conference I mentioned to you, Ashley. I know which one you're thinking of, where I literally was gagging. I was gagging because we were going to some deep work. It was a Tony Robbins conference. I'm just gonna do a shout out there, and because he's awesome. If you've been to his event, I know there's other things he's perhaps had to learn about last year related to some things he had said, but in regards to the work, what he brings, it really is quite transformative. So in that transformation, people be releasing, and when you are releasing, there is a smell. And everyone has a slightly different one, but girl, I was just, trying to like block it out.
So hard because of your reaction. It's like there are certain things like when you're in pain.
Yeah.
When you're like, we will be very composed and put together, but there are certain things where all composure falls apart. And it sounded like they were so much release. No one else was able to smell it, but you're like,
Yes. Oh my goodness. And I recently was in another workshop where we were all going deep, and it was some inner child work, which is something that I definitely teach upon and really help find that integration and healing around in my work. And the person who was leading it was definitely, I could see it. He was going there with all of us. And oh man, like the biological chemicals that also get released from that. So what I mean by that is there's two different kinds of sense too. One is energetic, where it's more of like the emotional release that's being literally let out, and or like stagnant energy has a very specific scent. Everyone smells it slightly different. I know this is fun. I guess this is fun facts. I guess
this is awesome. I love this
right?
kind of stuff.
Me too. It's curious. I just, we gotta, it's humorous too. I think it's funny. And then the other kind is when and this is very similar to when you are in massive fight or flight, right? There's also the chemical releases. So there can certainly be a combination of, in regards to if you do have a very sensitive nose or psychic smell abilities, you can actually smell one or the other or both. And so and what's cool is a medical intuitive, right? So that's a way in which I receive messages and communication for my client. So that's why I'll smell or taste foods that are creating inflammatory responses. And then it's so interesting, if they go get tested, it'll show what I felt or experienced and shared, not diagnosing, but just sharing. It matches. So, and it can be something that's super unique, like eggs or, lamb. It could be something super random. It's not just like, oh, gluten, though a lot of people I've noticed it's not just celiac. That's a whole other conversation. But I digress.
Sensitivities.
Yeah. So, and the last thing I'll say about that too is to sum up, whether you have that, and yes, Tamara, it is hilarious. It's fun. I have to laugh at it as well. It makes me feel better. But my point in all that is I just like go, whoa, as I talk very quickly, is your unique gifts, and that was what I often describe them as, your intuitive gateways, may come through in ways you don't always necessarily immediately assume or see.
And you
just don't recognize it. Or if you do, you have the main ones, but then you also have, as you continue to let yourself just tune into yourself, tune into your own awareness. What do I feel? What am I experiencing? What does this feel like? Right. And just starting to create your own personal dictionary, if you will, of sensations and what that connects to. You're building your toolbox. So if you are someone who's wanting to do this work professionally in whatever holistic modality, or even mainstream, to be perfectly frank, it absolutely connects to you. You have more to access in order to be of service. So that's just something to take on. It doesn't make you crazy or weird or bad. It's actually what makes you extraordinary in your way.
Right. And a gift, totally. And something for you to tune in for yourself. And recently I did a post on angel numbers and just doing market research of what does that mean to everybody individually? Because you're right. Like I might smell a certain scent, and then you'll smell, like I'll smell somebody's release, and then you'll smell their release, and it might smell a little bit different because that's how we interpret it. And
exactly.
Shauna really clarified to me that to trust my clairvoyant ability, because source, spirit, angels, guides are going to show me a message that's going to make sense to me. And it might not make sense, my message won't make sense to Shauna. So it's trusting that. And it's the art of continuing to tune in and ask and take a deep breath to allow that to integrate. So for in the future, when you smell that or taste that or hear it, whatever it is, then you're able to recognize that in your dictionary or in your files. Yeah, so good.
Look at you. What an excellent student / now colleague in so many ways, you know what I mean? And absolutely. And dear friend, like that isn't that beautiful? This just makes it like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Because I remember
I know.
I remember when Ashley and I, when we first had these conversations, and it's like, this was new like it was new, right? You didn't see
All
it
of
in
it.
this way. And then where you are now, not only fully understanding, but also finding your own nuances within that whole conversation, and just the whole metaphysical, and I
Just
don't
like
know,
world and
yeah, the world,
universe.
yeah, it's
I
beautiful.
love it.
So
And I love you, friend.
I love you, and thank you for doing your work. And I also say this to everyone watching, you know, whatever it is that your calling is, if you're choosing to go for it, or be of service in whatever that way is for you, thank you, because it's needed now more than ever, and it's safe. And the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing too, I think a lot of us need to hear right now, is it's safe for you to be you. It is safe for you to be in your body. It is safe for you to go for your mission, for your purpose, for whatever that heart's calling is. A lot of that, because I just felt it, a couple of you being like, oh,
Oh.
my phone keeps ringing. I'll call you later, Mom. Christina, text my mother. Tell her to stop calling me for a minute. I'm interviewing. She's like, I can't turn it on. I can't do not disturb because I'm afraid I'm going to lose this. We already had that conversation. Anyway, I love you,
Okay.
Mommy.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later. What was I saying? Oh, yes, you guys, it's safe. It's safe for us to be in our bodies. Tell yourself if you're having health stuff, because a lot of people, and I saw, oh goodness, Grace mentioned she's having some tummy issues. A lot of people are having tummy issues right now. Empaths, I found one of the number one places we hold, or just some heart, extra sensitive, period. Whether you categorize into the empath category or not, doesn't matter. But the stomach is one of the main places that we hold. It also connects, if you've had a lot of hyper alert or a lot of just going into fight flight in your past, not surprising, tummy's going to show up. So whether it's that or something else, number one, recognizing that you're in this process of releasing. A lot of people these last few months with that retrograde, it was a massive purge. And so it was not only you, but the collective was having to let go and release. That's why you're having old stuff come up in ways that maybe you thought you healed, or it was like, wow, that's old. Why is this coming up now? I thought I was past that. It just, it's an onion. It's layers, but right now it was, or especially this last month and a half, massive up and out of old stuck energy in the stomach. The gut was a huge area where that was definitely affected. Yeah, it totally sucks. But you know what? It's actually good. It's a good suck because it's creating space to bring in. So I have to say that. Go ahead, honey.
It's a good suck. I love
It's a good suck. Just breathe. It's temporary.
Yeah, to blend those two things, Grace, I was experiencing the same thing, like having stomach issues. And what you had said also, Shauna, of it is safe to be in your body. There's no coincidence that you said those things together, because what I find is that I am psychic and I like to work from the heart up. That's actually kind of from like the solar up is where I'm at. And I'm all the way up here.
It's comfortable.
It is, because that's what I know, and I have this tendency to disassociate. And so, again, like tying those things together, my trauma is held in my lower chakras.
Yep.
That's also survival mode, right? And sometimes survival is putting your one foot in front of the other and handling it. But for me, I like to fly away up here and daydream and be in those spaces.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So now, after that retrograde, I didn't even know we were in retrograde, and I was like, why is everyone so kooky? Like, I'm like, oh man, it was wild. And so what I did is I did a deep, and I did work with Shauna on this as well, a deep meditation. And usually I'll like clean out my chakras. I use one of them. You taught me this, Shauna, of course. Taught me the best. I'll take each chakra as a jewel, and then I'll imagine the angels cleaning it off. And it'd be so easy for me to do it till my solar plexus. And then my other two, I'm like, oh, I've got to go do this, or I got to do that.
Yeah.
I just wasn't giving myself permission to be in my body in those lower chakras where I'm really anchored in. Like I put on a grounding cord, but I wasn't actually cleaning those lower chakras. And it wasn't until I laid in bed and I was like, I'm not getting up until I actually do the work all the way down. I cleaned, and I was having massive stomach issues. Like some of you guys know, I was in the hospital 2 days in January. Yep. And as soon as I called in that light and I put the angels around me and I just let it flow through me again, I was laying down. So just like a bright sun over me and then coming through here. All of a sudden my stomachs, my like intestines were like, I could feel almost like liquid. It was like a backwards enema. Like I could feel water like going through it. And I've had the most amazing releases like ever, and my body feels so good. Even today I was like, am I nervous to do this video? What's going on? But my body is releasing. But I gave myself permission to be in my body. I gave myself permission. It's safe to go there. And
Amen.
So I want to encourage you that, oh yeah, Grace.
Grace, yes, please do. And that's and I think so what you just shared, because that was absolutely my experience. I remember when I was in kind of hitting my low in college, and I was having even before that, where it was just where I was in that place of just complete self-deprecation, self-sabotage, not recognize that I was allowed to have boundaries. When I would have to go into my body, because I got my BFA in theater from Cornish College of the Arts, and one of the notes I would constantly get is ground, Shauna, ground. And I'm like, it actually hurt. I remember a time when it literally was like so painful to be in my body, because this was so much more comfortable. And there's so much that goes into why that was for me, and everyone's why behind that who do experience that is different. Although I'm sure there's quite a bit of crossover. But one of the things that I found, especially with teaching psychic development and intuitive development, is really recognizing that the more grounded you are, the higher you can go. So it's an expansion like so versus up here, because if we're all up here, which we all love, like the fairy inside us, like even right now you can feel we want to like woo and go fly, you end up being an upside down triangle, yo. And so it's like you're teetering on this point, and so it's like whoa versus grounded, or putting it like a regular triangle, if you will, right, where the base is strong. You can then go higher, because if you think about like the resonance up here, it's like this, I think of those frequencies similar to sound, right? Very, very high. It's like it's finite. It's that's why sometimes it's harder for a lot of people struggle with going up, because it's so light. But if you're already attuned to that kind of energy, that is what's going to be more comfortable. So I like to, number one, after you've cleared, if this is how do you do that, tomorrow I see your question with that. Number one is, oh, good. I'm so glad. And Grace, it's awesome. Yes. The more grounded you are, the higher you can go. And start off by, if this is a struggle for you, start off by saying it's safe for me to ground. It's safe for me to be grounded. And then what I like to do is, a lot of people, yes, you can do the drop a cord from the base of your spine. That's one way. That's a lot of people have heard that way of grounding. But what I have found for me to be most beneficial, especially if you're working with grounding, is after you cleared yourself from the base of your feet, drop golden roots of light, or literally visualize wood, tree roots, whatever resonates with you. I like to do gold. If I'm working on healing, I'll make them kind of green, and I'll imagine dropping those from the soles of your feet, and then literally vision them going down, 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 the way tree roots grow, all the way to the center of the earth. Ooh, coming into your body. Yes. Woo! I can feel that. Yes. Boom. And then when you're grounded, then there's a gentle lift. And there's, some other areas that I teach on how to open the specific gateways and so forth so you can experience that fully. But yeah, you can just, I can already feel those who just did this. It's like, boom. It's like a sudden, it can be immediate when you drop those roots. And that's also a place for you to let go. You can also flush out through those roots into the earth to transmute any, excess lower vibrational energy, any excess, psychic debris, as I call it, that kind of stuff that, us empaths pick up that's on ours to carry, things that we hold in our system. So that's just a quick little way to help you practice grounding, and just safe. It's safe for your body to heal. Someone else needs to hear that. It's safe for your body to be healthy. It's safe for your body to heal. It's safe for you to be fully grounded within this sacred structure that holds your soul.
Mm-hmm. I love that, and the idea of safety. I feel like that's kind of the theme for this year.
Oh,
Really,
yes.
is it is safe to explore that. And the other thing, it's safe to be in your body, but it's safe to be held by Mother Earth.
Yes.
Also, because sometimes in our vulnerability, it's like I don't want anyone to see me because I have to be pretty imperfect and, you know, be tied together with a smile in public. But it is safe for you to surrender into the support and loving guidance and this like beautiful hug of Mother Nature. And I think that's a key component as well of like, it's safe. It's safe in that as
Safe.
well.
And
How
what
beautiful.
it is, and what you just said, I think this is so gold. I just got this, so I want to share this. This year is all about safety. We're also working with letting go and working through the
Oh, are you there, Shauna? Oh, bummer. Can't show the kiddos. Oh, Shauna, you're a little bit frozen, but I see comments here. I love Christina and Grace. Heard about some people. Christina said, I recently heard about some people having stomach issues due to absorbing energy from their environment. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's another thing too, is like, let's look at the tools that negative energies from our space. Oh no, we lost her. Maybe she got another call. Um, I love this. Do you guys love it too? This has been such an amazing class. I know Sean and I have so many classes that we can definitely teach together. So if you guys have certain things that you want to learn about, definitely drop them below. Ask your questions. My goal is to answer them for you so you feel filled up and you feel supported. And oh, I love it. Overflowing with energy. That's what we want. And oh, there we go. There's Shauna again. See? Approve. Yay, you're back on.
Am I back?
There we go. Yep.
Oh my goodness. It was so deep. Actually, you guys, that's a
Mm-hmm.
fun thing. I don't know if you already said this,
I
but
didn't
when
yet.
okay, so here's the thing. When something really profound's about to be said and then things get super wonky, that's always a sign that, ooh, this is really important. This
It
is
is.
something I really need to hear because it's kind of like, oh, something's trying to disturb the force. Okay, we're just going to recognize. So, I mean, for me, I always make you determine. I'm like, I'm coming back on. No. We're going to talk about this. So,
Yeah, and Christina, you said it too. Yeah, she's like the technology issues tell me that this message is very important, and it is. It totally is, and it happens consistently. Actually, like Shauna, no matter what it is, if we are in flow and we're about to make a breakthrough, that's something that will happen, and we know better to get right back on because you would explain to me. I'm like, why? That didn't make sense, right? In the beginning, I was such a newbie, and it's because think about how like spirits or energy can travel through technology and through water are the things. So that's why you think about like the TV flicking on and off, or the radio, or the
yes.
lights, or the technology. Um, or I had a being that was in or a spirit that was in my office, and it was like communicating through the pipes. And I was like, why
Yeah.
does this? There was like a door. It's actually in my closet, and it would just open, and I would close it, and then I'd go in there
Yeah.
again, and it would be open. And I'm like, this has a lock on it, like a little closed thing. Why does this keep opening? And then I had my friend come in, come in and do like a removal and stuff. And she's like, it's coming through the pipes. That's why, because of water.
Absolutely.
Isn't that crazy?
Absolutely. And with that too, before I get to that very profound point, so do not let me go away from that. But I must say, with that being said, with technology, there's also a resonance when you're about to say something very profound, right? And then that happens. There's a different resonance behind those moments versus like this doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
Completely different vibration. And sometimes things can try to things that try to interrupt will try to make that feel negative. But the thing is, with truth, or if I don't even use the word truth, but with that something that is meant to be said, that's in service of highest good, you can't deny that resonance of, no, I really need to hear this, right? Versus like, oh, I'm not supposed to because this is happening. There's
Mm-hmm.
you learning to discern for yourself in your own internal compass is so key in that work. So what I was going to say, which I think is really important, is when you mentioned this is such a year of safety, which I think very much it is, of safety and knowing it's safe to be in your body, all of that we were talking about. The other side of that is around the topic of fear. A lot of times fear, which is a lower vibrational energy, and it can come across in many different ways, from the back when you least expect it. Sometimes you can even look at fear as false evidence appearing real. But the vibration of fear itself, right? A lot of times fear shows up from a sense of needing to survive. There's this survival aspect, or being unsafe. It's unsafe for me to go out of my comfort zone. It's unsafe for me to go for what I want. Why? Because unknown, from the Homo sapien biological perspective, right? Unknown equals danger. It's like, there's a reason why. Don't go too far out of the pack. You know, don't go completely on your own. There could be a saber-toothed tiger, whatever's going on, right? So there is that fear, because the mind, that the fight, flight, survival, if you will, doesn't want us to die, right? That's the biological, stay alive. Henceforth, you will do anything when you are in a place of needing to survive. It's going on to a different topic slightly, but you get my point. So this year, yes, imagine the possibility for your life if you could actually experience knowing it's safe for you to be completely who you are. It's safe for you to be seen in all that you are, right? In your own magnitude, your own magnetism, and owning who you be, right? And not dealing with that fear of, oh, shit's gonna hit the fan. Oh, if I do this, then I'm gonna, you know, fill in the blank. All those weird thoughts that we can have that just like go into this, you know, place of, ooh, making yourself kind of get a little, you know, not only anxious, but it's like kind of this panic that can take over.
Yeah.
You know, your life, you could be, anything would be possible. And so this year, if this is a 3-year about creativity, owning your voice, being who you be, right, stepping up, you can, this is a great year. If you're wanting to go for something, do it, because it's a work if you work it. So you have to be able to be willing to have the courage and trust in your, just even if you just need just a sliver in for yourself, if this is something that's really difficult, to take that step. Things will come to be. Things will come to you, but you have to put it in. You have to put in the effort. If we just sit around, right, on the couch doing nothing, it's not going to do anything for us. Follow?
Right, and shifting your mindset around it too, right? We can say, oh, we could tell ourselves, you know, our conscious mind, what we tell ourselves over and over again becomes our subconscious, and that's what we manifest from, right? So we can tell ourselves, oh, I'm afraid, oh, this is scary, whatever. We can live in that fear, or we can choose right now, after watching this video or watching this replay, #replay if you guys are watching the replay, that you can tell yourself a different story of, it is safe for me to thrive. It is safe for me to step into my power. It is safe for me, to be in my body. It's safe for me to meditate, right? Like whatever that is, tell yourself that new story right now and recreate that reality for yourself.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, if I would encourage everyone watching, see what happens if you could just try this out for this week.
Affirmation.
Yeah, and see if you could start to bring this in for yourself every day for the next week, for the next 7 to 10 days. You choose, you pick whatever feels, but at least 7 days, just to see. And in moments when you're trying to make a shift, or there's something that you're having resistance to, remind yourself that it's safe for you to take the action. It's safe for you to move forward. It's safe for you to love your body. You know, this is my body. I love this body. It's safe for me to be in this body, especially for my sensitives, because this feels safer up here than here. So finding that balance, it can absolutely open things up for you, and knowing you're worthy of it. You know, you're not the exception from experiencing true joy and the gift that is life, and all that's possible here.
That was amazing. You're not the exception for fully experiencing like true happiness, I think is how you said it. That was like so good.
Yeah. So because we do that all the time. It's like, I'm so done. Like, I want us to all be like, I'm done with this. I'm going to not be like this weird, put myself in the corner. That's like, why are you, no, you're not the exception. You are so just as worthy as all of those people that I know, if someone was upset or hurting, my heart-centered empaths, like, I know you'd be there being like, it's okay, you know, you'd be there for them. You'd be like, you deserve happiness, and you would mean it. Why are why does that not apply to you? Just because it's you? That's crazy making, right? Like, it's like, whoa, wow, that's just wackadoo. That's a whole other conversation, but.
It is. And a conversation I've had with myself too, and an affirmation, if you guys wanted to adopt this as well, is I am unavailable for anything less than my highest potential.
Boom.
You set that bar for yourself, the universe is going to, as you know, I do teach and specialize in manifestation, the universal laws. If you tell yourself this over and over again, then that is what you're going to be attracting to yourself. I am unavailable for anything less than my highest potential. And then it gives you permission to step into that. So
yes,
so good. This training has been so good. When you popped off for just a little bit, I was like, we have so many topics that we could definitely like train on together. I love this.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you guys have more questions and you want to connect with Shauna, you want to have a clarity call, join her group, maybe try a coaching program, where can they find you, Shauna?
You can find me, of course, here on Facebook. My personal page is Shauna Grace. It's the URL is Shauna Grace, or facebook.com/Shauna Grace Personal. I do have a business page. I would love it if you'd like that. I'm going to be doing more on Facebook on my business page. That's something that's definitely coming. I've been focusing a bit more on Insta and a couple other entertainment things that have been occurring, which I can't wait to share with you guys when I'm allowed. You know, there's like those NDAs and all those. Yeah. Yes, I'm so excited. My other Facebook group is the Awakened Empath Revolution. So Awakened Empath Revolution, just look that up. That's a group you'll have to request to join, but I will approve you. Just say how you say. Mention Ashley, we good. And if you want to, invite anyone else, you're welcome to. My website, you guys, it's simple. It's www.shaunagrace.com. There you can, you're welcome to send me an email. You can ask, if you want to book a session, please, that's right there and available. If you guys want to send me a personal message, awesome. Please do, either here or via the Shauna@gmail.com. But Messenger's great. I definitely can check Messenger. And let's see here. And Instagram, it's @the Shauna Grace. So it's all Shauna Grace. The Shauna Grace, @the Shauna Grace. We're trying to keep it all the same, right? That's what they say. Makes things easier. That's what they say we're supposed to do. So I guess that's what we're doing. Also,
we'll post them all below too. So if you guys didn't catch all of the details, they'll be below. Or
So but website, if you want to find out more, it's just shaunagrace.com, SHAUNA Grace.com. And and the last thing I'll say is you guys will be seeing more. Ashley is, as you know, she's a part of my business mastery program, which I'm so grateful to have her. And then stay tuned, because I have also co-founded the International Alliance of Certified Intuitive Practitioners. So you'll be seeing more about that. So those of you interested in wanting to become certified as an intuitive practitioner, even finding out what that is, what that means. And the International Alliance, I've chosen to create a platform and space for light workers and particularly holistic spiritual practitioners with whatever your modality is. I think it's time for us to have a platform where people can go and actually see people who have been tested, certified, they are who they say they are, and choose to operate their business from a place of high integrity and ethics. And if that's something that you want to hear more about, if there's something about that resonates with you, please reach out, because there's going to be some great opportunities, because we are looking for amazing service-based, heart-based, mission-driven leaders.
Ready to step it up.
I can't wait. So there's a lot more to share about that, but that's, I think, a good place to leave it now. And so just message me if you have any questions, and I'm here for you. And I'm so honored, and thank you so much again for having me, Ashley, and to each and every one of you who popped on or just through it all or saw parts of it. Thank you. And I'm here. I'd love to connect.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much. As you guys can tell, I am so grateful to be able to work with Shauna one-on-one, and you guys have access to her on all of her social media platforms. Definitely schedule a clarity call if there is that tug on your heart. Follow that is your intuition. I hope you guys learned so much today. I know that you did. I will drop some of the affirmations below, all of Shauna's information. If you guys have any questions, both of us are in this feed. So drop them below, and we're going to make sure that you guys are supported. We love you so much. Thank you for being an amazing member of the Mediocre to Magical Academy. And with that, we love you and hope you have an amazing day. Bye, friends.
Mwah. Love you all. Blessings. Woo! So fun.